On a beautiful sunny morning in September 2010, I drove down from Brisbane to the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia to perform an audit on a custom home building company. These guys were one of the franchisees in a group that had operations all over Australia. On the surface, things appeared to be going well. They were constantly signing new contracts and in less than 3 years had grown their building company from zero to over $6 million a year in annual sales. However, it wasn't all plain sailing. Head office was starting to receive complaints from subcontractors who were unhappy that they were not being paid on time. At first, these were just a few isolated instances, and they appeared to be related to specific instances of substandard work. However, as more complaints started to filter through, it became clear that a pattern was starting to emerge. So I was asked to meet with the two directors and audit their accounts to check if they were solvent. When I arrived at the offices, I remember being quite impressed with their professionalism. They were building high-end custom homes for very successful people, and their image certainly reflected that. There were 2 high-performance cars fully branded and being detailed in front of the offices. Off to the side was a couple of utes and another car presumably belonging to a salesperson, again completely branded up. The offices were clean, modern and spacious, with a well-presented receptionist ready to greet anyone that entered. It was a far cry from a typical building company that was struggling to pay their bills, which gave me some confidence that the audit would be pretty straightforward and I'd be heading back to Brisbane by lunchtime. And mostly, it was pretty straightforward. However, there were some figures that just didn't add up. The work in progress accounting adjustment had been added at each year end. However, it was showing as an asset on the balance sheet and it was growing year on year. As soon as I saw that, I knew something was seriously wrong in their accounts. So I asked them, who calculated your work in progress figure? Now they smiled and they told me that the accountant always asks for it at year end, but because they've no idea what it should be, he just enters his best guess. Now, I think my jaw physically dropped at this point. I could not believe what I was hearing. The most important number in a building company's accounts was being merely guessed year on year because no one knew how to calculate it. On paper, this company had a net value of $550,000. However, when I calculated the true figure for work in progress, they were $1 million underwater. Put another way, in the 3 years that they had been building luxury homes, they had never made a cent. They had, in all probability, been losing money every year, but had been completely oblivious to the fact because they had cash in the bank. Here's the thing most builders and even accountants do not understand. Building new homes is cash flow positive. Therefore, you will generate large amounts of cash that is simply other people's money. Only you would never know how much you owe because that liability is hidden away inside your accounts. It doesn't appear on a creditor's list, so on the surface, everything appears rosy. And because you have cash in the bank, why would you think there's a problem? This is what catches so many new home builders out. Cash flow acts as a rug, and work in progress is the dirt that gets swept under that rug. However, sooner or later, the rug will no longer cover the dirt and the whole house of cards comes crashing down. This is the number one reason why building companies fail. They run out of cash and they didn't see it coming because they didn't know their work in progress liability. They spent the cash they had in the bank without realizing there were hidden creditors that did not appear on the creditors list. So, to put it mildly, these guys were in a serious situation. They now needed to inject $1 million of cash into their business in order to be solvent. When I shared that news with them, they smiled and said it wouldn't be a problem. They had access to more cash and would transfer it into the business. And that surprised me a bit, as I would have thought that discovering a $1.5 million swing in the wrong direction in their accounts would have had them hitting the panic button, and certainly not considering having to throw more cash into the fire. But they assured me it was all under control, and so I left. 2 days later, I found out exactly why they were so calm, because apparently I was an idiot who had no idea what I was talking about. How could they be $1 million underwater? In fact, they found the whole episode hysterical and would certainly not be pumping any more money into their business. That left me with no other option other than to recommend the franchisor terminate the franchisee immediately, as their days were numbered. How long have they got? I was asked. I replied, 12 to 18 months. 12 to 18 months before the dirt popped out from beneath their rug and the business came crashing down around them. That left the franchisor with a tough call. $6 million in revenue meant a lot of royalty payments, but a franchisee collapsing would damage their brand. Well, fast forward just 9 months later, and the receivers were called in after the company was forced into liquidation by a creditor who was not prepared to wait any longer for their money. Now, naturally, I was curious to see the liquidator's report on the final position of this building company. It was $1.5 million underwater. In that final 9 months, things had gotten even worse, and they'd lost another $500,000, and they didn't even see it coming. Now, you don't need to be $1 million underwater before you start calculating your work in progress accounting adjustment. Every single building company needs to calculate this figure in order to produce accurate financial reports that will provide them with a clear picture of the financial health of their building company, right down to the very last cent every single month. So that is how work in progress destroys building companies. Do you see how knowing this can help you to succeed where so many other building companies have failed? Give it a try and see for yourself how simple this is to implement, yet how vital it is to calculate it accurately for the prosperity of your building company. If you'd like to learn more about the work in progress accounting adjustment and access the easy to use calculator, click on the link below.